Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on how to rank on Google image search. So this is video number 1, which is the introduction and of course getting started. So before we get started, I want to kind of briefly go over a few things to make sure that we are on the same page. So first things first, I want to start with mindset. The goal here is not to game the system at all, because Google image search is very different than other searches like YouTube and the regular SERPs. And the reason why is because you're going to have an image that's going to show up on the Google image search. And with that in mind, people are going to click on the ones that best fits that keyword. So you want to make sure that you have a high quality image that attracts a certain type of person. Now, whenever you sell a product, you have to think, okay, so if I attract a certain type of person via an image, then from that point, what is their next step, right? Are they going to do more research, or how are you going to funnel them into your funnel, essentially? So before you can do any of that, you really need to put yourself in your prospect's shoes. They all have different reasons from buying from you. So your goal is to try to understand what they are. Can you do that? So now what I want to do is talk about the video course itself, kind of give you a quick overview of the course itself. And of course, this is video number 1. Video number 2 is the 7 steps checklist. And the premise of videos 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we're going to dive deeper into those 7. And these are 7 different variables that are very crucial and very important in trying to get your images ranked on the Google image search. Now, this is not an exact 100% guarantee system, but this is just based on what we have seen and over the years. Video number 3 is wrapping content. Essentially what that means is the content that surrounds the image that's on the top, that's after it, before and after, and all that. The content there is crucial, and it really needs to describe the image in a better light so that you attract the right person. So that way Google knows exactly what that image is about. Video number 4, we're going to talk about file format and why that is important. Video number 5, we'll talk about image size. And something that you're going to notice is, depending on the niche, different sizes can change. And you may notice that Google likes specific image sizes. So depending on your niche and depending on your research, which I'll show you step by step, you're going to need to figure out how to resize them. Video number 6, we're going to talk about file compression, or in other words, how to compress your files from, let's say, for example, 1 megabyte and decrease it by 50%, which is 500 kilobytes. So the goal here is to decrease or compress the size of the image without losing too much of the quality of the image, so that it can run faster when your visitors actually visit your site. Video number 7, we'll talk about file names, why that's important. Video number 8, we'll talk about alt tags, which appear in the source code of your website. And that also tells Google what your image is all about. So there's a lot of different variables here, and a lot of times most people just focus simply on video 8, which is the alt tag. And as you can see, it's much more than that. And of course, last but not least, once you have learned all of these steps, we can talk about how to automate the process, how to speed things up with pieces of software. Now, I don't want you to skip to video number 9 straight away, because if you don't understand videos 1 through 8, then you're going to miss the point. And if things change, then you won't be as successful. So make sure you go through this course on a step-by-step process. And of course, you're going to need to have access to your product or service. You're going to have to get an idea of who your customers are, what they want, how that specific image is going to attract them to make the next decision and take the next step. So really think along as we go through this course how your images will communicate to your customers, but how your customers will take the next step, and the next step after that, and the next step after that. All right, so with that said, let's move on to video number 2. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2, and we're going to talk about the 7 image optimization checklist. So from here on out, we are going to dive into some practical application. What I'm going to be doing in the future videos is really reverse engineering things in Google image search so that you have a better idea of why things are the way they are, and you have a better mental picture, a visual picture of what's happening. So what I'm going to do now is simply go through the checklist of the 7 items. I'm going to briefly talk about each one, but I'm not really going to dive into it. That's the purpose of the videos after that. So the first one is wrapping content. So to give you an example, I went to google.com, I typed in pizza recipe, and what I want to do is look at the images here. And what I'm trying to look for is why the images here are at the very top. And that might change from niche to niche. So let's just go ahead and click on these right here. I'm going to open this one up and open this one up in a new tab. And I'm going to go ahead and click on visit. Now, whenever we do this in the reverse engineering process, I want you to load the blog that the image is located on, and then of course look for the image. So the image is here. So the first item of the checklist is wrapping content. In other words, the content that is surrounding this image is crucial. And we'll talk about why it's crucial, what your content needs to look like, what it needs to be, what kind of keywords you should use surrounding this image. That's the first one. Then of course the second one is file format conversion, meaning the image right here, what type of file format is it? Is it the right kind? Should we turn it into a different format? What different formats are available out there, why they're important, and all that. The next one on the list, the number 3, is image resizing. So another question you might have is, well, how big should the image be? Should it be 1000 by 1000? Should it be a smaller size? What should that be? So we'll talk more about that in that video. And we'll do a little bit of reverse engineering in each one of these videos so that you have a better visual picture of why things are the way they are. And then of course the next one after that is file compression. Believe it or not, what we've found over the years is the reason why most websites don't load or don't rank really well is because their images just take a lot of space. So in this case, we want to take a look at, is the size too big, and how can we compress it without losing too much quality and get ranked high for that image. The next one on the checklist is the file name and the page URL. So if we right click here on the image itself, and sometimes it won't let us, but in this case, if we right click and we open the image in a new tab, the name of the file of the image is crucial. It's very important. And I'm going to show you why in that video. And if it's not, most images are just a bunch of gibberish. If it is gibberish, what do we do in that case? How do we make it optimized? The next one after that is the alt tag. The alt tag is what tells Google what the image is all about. But that's just one variable out of this whole checklist. And then of course, last but not least, after I talk about each one of these checklist items, I want to show you how to automate the process. But before we talk about how to automate the process, I want to teach you how to do each step manually. Because if you don't understand each step and the process behind it, and you jump to the automated process, then what that's going to do is it's just going to taint things and you're not going to be as effective. So we want to make sure that you are effective, you get the rankings that you are trying to achieve, and go from there. All right, so with that said, let's move on to the next video.